Hello, everyone. This is Coach Matt for the Seattle Chess School. And today we'll do some commentary on Timberlake 2025, Part 2. We will, of course, refer to him as Tim B for brevity's sake. First game here in 10 plus 0. Opponents rated 2354. So you get a nice opponent right off the bat. So here we have a double London where white has played knight c3 and black has played pawn c6. I would say maybe the pawn c6 is a little more flexible than knight to c3. Okay, so both sides going for their favorite tabia, their favorite battle array and setup here. So because white played knight c3 very early, there will be no c-pawn involvement, either c3 or c4. Black does not have such a problem and can presumably play c5 at any point. Could also play e5. So queen c7 is preparing e5 here. So this is a very flexible setup. Knight to e2 actually corrected what I was just mentioning there. So we have an interesting strategic battle right off the bat. Both sides also playing at a fairly rapid pace. Here, let's shorten this a little bit here, so that this way we can actually see the times the whole time. He gained time on the clock there, so maybe there's some sort of lag happening. Castles. I would not have expected castles here because, of course, when white captures and black captures, black no longer has any option of the h-pawn. So this means that he's all in on e5 here. So, and this one confirms this. So the tactical ability, tactical chances on the h-file are not what's really important. It's the central play that's important, I suppose. I guess that's the thinking here. So again, we have basically a good position. Now black actually has the resource knight to e4. So this takes this away. So black has a chance to make a diamond here. G takes f and then followed by f5, and then they'll have the diamond. And it just leaves for black to put a jewel. Oh, and he goes for this. Okay, so this has the not only central expansion, but king to g7 followed by doubling on the h-file is on. So probably let's play in the center first. Oh no, he's going for the old rook h8. Okay, rook h8 followed by rook h7 and rook ah8. So this, of course, prepares c4. Now maybe black should have thrown in b5 there. Tim B might have taken a timeout move to try to at least stop some queenside expansion, since this is the only thing that white has really going for them. It might be a good idea to physically remove that plan and then get on with black's ideas here. Black actually could play f5, e5, or lift a rook. So he goes for the central plan, which immediately threatens e4. So this is slightly different from Tim B. I would have expected Tim B to play. Oh yeah, now all of a sudden white's position starting to look a little more cohesive here. So probably has to take this way first. Yeah, this when this happens, this is hitting here. Maybe that doesn't matter. Knight takes e4, e takes d. Maybe black actually has a really good attack here. Okay, so we might have to get rid of our dark bishop. Yeah, I don't know. This just looks like it's going right into an end game. This looked like an attacking position for a second, but I don't think this is. White can just simply exchange here and then take with the queen, and then we're in an end game, which is probably what white wants after having a slightly inferior end game. So this is not playable, but this one is. So So unless black can make something interesting out of that position, I don't know what black has here. Just a level end game, which I guess isn't bad against a 2354 player, but I felt like black had way more than this, or at least some potential. All right, so at the very least, there's a weak square here, so we can play 95 to c4. The rook here is probably no longer useful. Even doubling doesn't look like that would accomplish anything. The only way that doubling would accomplish anything is if you could get g5, g4. But all right. So what? Rook d8, knight c4. One of those moves. I would expect. Yep, rook d8. So this threatens knight c4. Threatens knight c4, pawn a4, knight b2, winning a pawn. So threatening to break in on the 7th rank if knight c4. Don't try to go for a sideways attack because this frontal attack would win. Yeah. Crowded rook. I don't know if I like crowded rook. Also, f4 might have been a threat. Followed by breaking in on e7. So yeah, we went from a promising middle game to an end game that is a bit complicated here. And he didn't find knight c4 either. I guess he's trying to keep out the rook. So this way he can go knight c4 here. And if he breaks in with the rook, now you still can't play rook to d7 because white will just simply take once and then go knight f5 check and win the rook here. So yeah, this I guess this is coordination, but not pressure. And so I guess this is probably not so bad. Like I said, probably mostly equal. Although, I mean, I still maybe white should test f4 here. What's the idea? Where's black going? g4? Is that why he plays this first? No. Why would you weaken that? This we don't like. It wasn't f4 like a telegraph threat? What's going on here? Rook b1. Okay, I don't understand any of this. So what, c5 here? And if b takes, then rook takes? That improves some pieces and makes the white pawn structure worse. Yeah, he goes for this. Okay, well, typical Timberlake. Chess without tactics. I have met a few players over the years that try to win games without tactics, and I think the players that I've met that are like this, a couple of them were rated 2150, 2160, 2200, something like that. I guess it's possible to get to that rating without having a tactical style. It does make games more fun and easier to win when you use them, though, I would say. So yeah, he walked right into knight e3, which is now going to threaten f4. So he probably wanted to play rook d3 there, at least attack something. So f4 looks like it's going to be the remove the guard tactic. Once this knight is removed from here, the knight will take, which will win a pawn for white. So it's whites that's using tactics, thus proving that chess without tactics is not playable. So maybe knight d3 is the only try. Knight d3, knight takes c4, knight takes, knight takes. Yeah, he might have to try this, but I don't know. This isn't looking good anymore. So he takes the pawn. What if he sacks the exchange and goes knight takes f4? That's not really Timby's way. I would expect something like rook c2 from him. Or even just knight takes rook. And then just play the pawn down, rook and pawn in game. So knight takes, rook takes. Might expect that from Timby. So, yeah, that was unfortunate because in the beginning, this looked like it was going to be a really exciting game, or at least like about here, even about here, without castling. I mean, just trying to get him to, just keep the king uncastled. But even this, going for the center, this here, yeah, on this telegraphed move, since this was the entire point, I thought b5 followed, even in fact, b5 followed by a5 might even have given black a pretty nice queen side attack. We could actually throw this in whenever we want, but black actually can stop up white's plan here, and this was his last chance to do it. After this, then white got in e4, and suddenly the game opened up in white's favor. Taking, and then once you trade queens, probably this was the absolute last chance to make this interesting, just by simply refusing the queen trade and then just play the open position. But once this happens, now any activity is kind of hard to. Oh, so he did play rook c2, and then so he walks into this pin. Oh, and then Mr. 2354 just blundered a knight away. Whoa, whoa. How about that? Okay, so now all you have to do is make sure you don't blunder the knight back, I guess. So he has to somehow unpin himself. No, that just walks right into this. So, oh, no, he's got knight takes f4. Okay, that's the whole point. Knight takes f4, rook takes, followed by knight e2 check. Or take once, rook takes, knight e2 check, and then pick up the knight. So it's actually Timby that's using the tactics. But like I said, Timby is not a big fan of using tactics. Somehow it is offensive to him to win. Oh, look at this. See? Yeah, let's never win a game by tactical means. Let's do it just completely by, station to station chess, I guess. One pawn at a time. Yeah, knight takes f4. Yeah, look at that. And white even like blocks that out. So he's probably wondering why his opponent's not using any tactical methods. And I've already said it in these videos before. If Timby would just use tactics, he'd be a national master in a month by the way he plays. If he could just add tactics to his game, he would be an extremely strong master. That's just my opinion. So, okay, so he's going to try to do this the old-fashioned way, use the king, but the king, of course, is going to go to e2. And then we get into a king and pawn endgame, which is probably mostly drawn. So here, probably knight takes f4. No, see, this is just more defensive. This isn't accomplishing anything. Just king to f3. Well, maybe. maybe oh no, then knight c5 check. Oh, and then that's how he gets out of his problems. Knight c5 check, using a tactic, use the discovery. Knight c5 protects the rook, gives check, and allows you to play rook takes b4 on the next move. And that will win some material. But again, this is not his natural state. Oh, well, he found it. Look at that. Ah, thank you. Using a tactic. Using the short tactics are nothing more than short-term opportunities. So this means if you don't use it, then usually you lose it. So when you get these opportunities, forfeiting these opportunities over and over again, okay, sure, maybe you can get your rating up to 2160, but if you use the tactics, see where your rating goes from there. You know, maybe it's 2560, maybe it's 2660, if only you use the short-term opportunities that are given. So this should win because rook takes b4 is next and all the pawns will get collected. White does not have any corresponding counterattack on the king. This king can always just back up to g7 if you need to. This knight is guarding d7, so there is no rook invasion. This is probably leading to mate, f5 check. This is a very bad king now. Maybe just take the b4 pawn. Just be cool. You could play f5 whenever you want. You don't have to play it right now. Just make sure your knight gets to stay on c5. That's the key to this. He's giving it a think. So maybe he's calculating mate, but there is no mate. And he just gives it, well, maybe there is a mate. Okay, so he's saying, oh no, my knight. Yeah, but see, he didn't get to take b4 here. So the knight is not eternal on c5. So this way, okay. So this is not threatening much. I mean, it's a nice looking knight. I guess it's threatening g3 a bunch of times. So check. And then what? Rook c8? No. See, he's over trapping the king. The king was already trapped. You didn't need f6. You could just play this and drop it. He could still do it. Rook c8. Nope. Not yet. Rook c8. Nope. Still doesn't do it. This doesn't lead to mate. This actually gives the king some escaping chances here. Take. And then what? Take g3? Is that the idea? That's not very artistic. So what? King f6? Yeah. And then he still has this and this. He's had it 6 turns in a row. Let's find it. So probably g4. You could probably still do rook c8. Oh, so here we go. Win it like this, huh? And then pawn takes. And just chop away. g4 now. Well, if you're gonna do no. If you're gonna do this, you have to play gh. You can't give him a pass pawn. I mean, obviously this king is really weak out here, but giving your opponent any extra, especially when they're 200 points higher than you, that's actually one really great. Oh man. So what is this? This move only threatens the rook. He should be going after the king. Look at this. Now White's finding ways to defend the king. And this is a pass pawn. So he has extra chances here. Oh, well, now the pass pawn's gone. So that's the end of that. But, you know, I mean, if you want to learn how to beat higher rated players, one excellent first step is quit giving them extra chances. There's no reason to give them extra chances. What is this move? What do you do? Okay, so trying to promote. Okay. So he's finally developed a plan, but he did not ever go after this king. Knight f6 picks up an exchange, which he missed. Another tactic gone. And by the way, if you want your opponents to resign, start playing tactics against them. If you don't play the tactics that you have, your opponents will assume that you're going to miss everything. And look at that. There's another pass pawn made. So now, yeah, okay. So this is still a win for black, but he's taking the longest route possible. But this, like what I was trying to say there, is that if you don't play the tactic that you have that is available, your opponent is going to assume that you're not seeing anything and will just continue to play on, figuring that if you're not going to defend against it. If you start executing tactics, you'd be surprised how quickly people will resign, because it seems like that way you see everything, or you see at least the important parts of the game. No, Rook G7 was better. No, that's terrible. Wow. So then he went for a dirty flag on top of that. All right, but he did win. So a nice 200-point victory there for Timby. Are they doing a rematch? No, he's playing a totally different person. Okay, so game 2, we're still black again, this time against a 2040 Sicilian. So Timby has a liking for the 4-knight Sicilian, which is d4 takes, knight f6, knight c3, knight c6. Oh, he does this. So Taimano style. This is new from Timby. Normally plays knight f6 first. Oh, he does it this way. So this is a slight deviation, reaching the same position that he likes. In my opinion, this type of Sicilian does not really hold too many promising chances here for black, unless white does something sort of unusual, or like even bishop g5 isn't really the best move there for white. So we just have a position. So what does this threaten? Queen a5, queen b6, take like this. I wouldn't be surprised if Timby took with the d pawn, but okay, takes with the b pawn. And then what, e5? I think Timby's actually had this position before. Yeah, you could tell by the speed that he's had this before. This, yeah, okay, so maybe bishop g. I know bishop g5 wasn't the best move on move 6 there for white, but bishop to b4 sort of makes this combination work. Now this looks really scary, but I think this pawn can be collected. And like, for example, here, if white plays queen h5, black can play queen f6. Don't collect the pawn first because of queen h8 check, which is really bad. But you could play queen f6 and then take the pawn at your leisure. So this only looks scary for white. In the meantime, black now has the bishop pair, although typically in this line, this bishop takes a while to get into the game. He also has a glom of center pawns. That's kind of nice. He is down a pawn at the moment, but like I said, this guy's easy to collect. Okay, so he goes for protection and hitting the bishop. So here we would probably expect, from Timby, we would expect bishop to e7. No, he plays c5. That's kind of an active move, and also we can get bishop to b7 with tempo. Or, well, I mean, we'll get bishop to b7. This move is the tempo, but we might have enough time just to put the bishop on this wonderful diagonal. And if need to, we could post up the bishop on c6, which will guard d7, just in case white tries to double on this file, and we want to play queen to f6. This, of course, hits the rook, but runs into d5, but that might run into bishop to b5. So that move might have been a little too quick. Also, there's queen h7 to deal with, in which case black can play king to e7. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Take, and I would have taken that with the king, maybe. At least give it a think. King takes is interesting because it hits the queen, and if queen to h7, we could still play queen f6 and collect the pawn. He very quickly took with the queen, and then queen f3. I was expecting queen h7. He didn't bother with that. So So what? Castles, rook b8. Castling looked interesting. So this has some play on the b file. This pawn here is still a little annoying. Could probably collect it now. Queen f6, rook g8. And yeah, I think you got your material back. Probably have to take this guy at some point too, before this knight has a chance to become strong. He's going to do something like rook d1 and knight to e4 or something like that. f5, so he wants to collect it this way, but e6 now becomes really weak. Queen h5 also looks like, like, I don't know, rook to e1 first and then queen h5. I don't know. Queen g3, so that hits the rook. So king f7 might be good. With a double attack, another tactic. He does a triple attack going this way. Okay, but then, yeah, the G pawn is now hanging. Well, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe this doesn't matter because maybe black actually might have a really good pawn sacrifice here. Oh, he trades queens. Wow. Okay, well, we'll have a pawn down in game, but we'll have some active pieces here. So is that enough for the pawn? I guess that's the question. Is that enough compensation for the pawn? So white should take, black will take, white will play g3. And then we have to wonder if black, even with the bishop versus knight and a huge giant center of pawns. Wow. I don't believe that move. You're actually going to let them keep all this. That seems insane. So yeah, maybe even like rook f7, g3, and then king d7. And then start to use all these open files on the king side. Yeah, I can't believe that move. I think white had much better chances defending the endgame. So this has kind of the same idea, where he wants to swing the rook over here once he moves his queen. So g3, and then possibly black could win his pawn back by actually taking twice on c3. And that will give him his pawn back. And then it'll give him a chance to swing the rook over again if needed. Yeah, boy, queen h5. That was hard to believe. Okay, so he defends himself with a queen. Queen h6. So this is threatening rook h7. Yeah, or rook g7 first and then rook h7. Maybe some sort of combination of moves. I don't know. I have a sneaky suspicion white is angling to sacrifice here. Yeah, wow. And just as I said it, he played it. Yeah, well. So he should probably refuse this and move his rook over first. Play rook h7. This is an in-between move, another tactic. Let's play this first, threaten mate, and then decide if you want to take the rook or not. Or how about rook g7 first? That might even be more accurate. Rook g7, threatening here and the knight. Let's use an in-between move, Tim. Yay! Woo! Okay. All right. So probably knight f4 or knight e3, one of those. So he's still 2 pawns down. He's at least he's trying to add something here, but yeah, he had to expect the sacrifice on d5. Queen h6 was not anticipating that at all when he played queen h6 here. Like in fact, in this position, like I said, it may have been better just to chop him, just get rid of him. and then play this attack, then play queen. In fact, maybe that was correct. You simply chop the guy first, pawn takes, and then queen to h6. And then maybe you have to suffer through a rook b1 or something like that, but you don't have to suffer through all this. So now white's seriously threatening here or here. No, not rook c1, rook d1. There you go. So those are the two threats, here and here. So Timby needs something extra marvelous here. What, rook g4? Maybe rook g4 with a double attack. So here he goes for another double attack. He goes for this one, threatening mate. And of course, this can be defended with h3. Okay, you could throw that one in first. That was a good in-between move. And then just what, h3? h3, and then resume the 2 pawns up attack. White's got 2 extra pawns and the attack, which is of course a great combination to have. So h3 first, of course. Yeah, that's why rook g4 might have been better. At least trying to make this knight move, displace the knight first. So here, I would say that black is losing here. There's too many things to deal with. C3 is a problem. A3 is a problem. Ganging up on this pawn is a problem, like queen c6 or something, or like c3 followed by rook fe1. There we go, ganging up on the pawn. So that's a big idea. Yeah, he's running out of ideas here, you can tell. Chess without tactics. King f6, okay. So getting out of any checks, I suppose. But again, just like I said, c3 followed by activating the rook should give white a decisive advantage there. Knight takes e6 is a thing too. Knight takes e6, king takes e6, queen c6 check wins the queen. So even this is on. Rook to d6 is on. Okay, so white does it. White does this in the most economical way, and coordinates his entire force. This is well done, and we're running out of ideas here. Yeah, let's see. We can even take this one check. Rook takes, knight takes e6, and if king takes e6, queen c6. Actually, that doesn't. Does that lead to mate? Maybe that leads to mate. Could also do rook d6 if you want to pile up on the pawn. Yeah, this looks most efficient. Just pile up on the guy. Can't defend it like this because knight d5 is a threat, forking the rook. The threat is here, followed by here, winning the queen. So this is resignable. I don't think there's a defense here unless he can move his king. But even if he moves his king, he could just collapse on e6. And this is game over. Sacks the queen. What? No, that's just take the queen. His idea is bishop to c7, but white can take at the end of that. White can take on e6 with check. Rook takes e6 with check. King takes, and then queen takes bishop, and that should be winning easily. Yeah, and he just tapped. All right, well, hey, we get the white pieces. Okay, so we get a 2130 player. The English opening. Oh, he's using, haha, look at this. Someone that has been watching the videos. So we did an entire video on this one. And let's see how he does with this variation. So, of course, we play knight to d4. Right? And then the only good move that we were concerned about was knight c6. Let's see if the opponent knows. Oh, he doesn't know this one. So here, that just leaves the d5 square totally weak. So yeah, knight to c2, followed by knight to c3, followed by knight to e3, followed by jumping in on d5 many times. And followed by putting this bishop on g2. This should give white a nice grip on the position. I would play knight e3 here, stopping pawn to d5. Black, oh, no. No, well, maybe this is okay too. This seems like a bit much. Knight e3 was easier. So here you have to take this with the knight. Now black actually probably might even have a good position here. Yeah. Yeah, so we have to give away the two bishops, says black. But we'll get, give up the two bishops, we'll give white a bunch of weak pawns, I guess is the idea. So here, trying to play e3, but play it in a more greedy way by getting the bishop out first. Also, bishop g5 was playable with the same reason. Bishop f4 is interesting because in some cases we might be threatening knight here or knight here. With some invasion on the dark squares. So hitting this guy a couple times. Interesting enough, if rook to c1, black can play queen takes a2, winning a pawn since this is pinned. So again, the opponent, walking into a double pin here. That's what I call this. When you're pinning a knight against a queen and a king, that's a double pin. And it's not good to usually walk into these unless you have some way to break through this and try to get these guys off the board. So probably castles, right? Why not? Is this a threat? Maybe the threat is here. Typical Timby position where the threat is to actually have a better defense. Yeah, I'm threatening to defend myself even better than I am now. That's my big threat. If only he would use tactics. So, but it's given the given opponent something to think about here. Maybe he's calculating. Yeah, castles I thought was just a simple move. Simple move, depending on how white plays here. Might even be an e3 pawn sacrifice. Gotta be a little careful here. So what, e3 first, rook c1 first, knight b3 first. Knight db5 maybe. Wow, wouldn't expect that from Timby. This is just a little too tactical. He must be hallucinating or something. So what does this threaten? Knight c7, bishop c7, pawn a3. All right. So give me the rook. So rook a7 probably. And now what? Bishop here? Rook c1. This unfortunately threatens nothing. So there might be some tactical point based on that. Yeah. Black was aware of this. White's not threatening this. So basically black got a free move there. Now black might be threatening this move. So this is turning on TMB really fast. Okay, so that hits a knight, so black can't sacrifice the rook yet. He's got to take this one first. Well, but then he might take back. Maybe this is a tactical. Well, he does do this, but this wins a tempo on the queen. Yep. And then this wins a piece. So he's actually, this wins an exchange here. Oh, wait a minute. No, the bishop is being attacked. Wow, look at that. A tactical situation. Look at that. Okay, so he's, again, black's using tactics too. Why not? So what, rook c1, rook d1, move the rook, get it out of the pin. Isn't that what we do with pieces that are being pinned? We get stuff out of the way. I always say, hey, all right, winning another tempo here. All right, so utilizing tactics efficiently here. Now all he has to do is castle. E3, bishop E2 castle, and he'll be winning on material. And maybe he has another tactic in knight takes E4 actually. How about that? Or B4. Fork or discovery? He chose fork. Actually, knight takes E4 was a discovery and a fork. So a forksery. He had a forksery here. He could have done this and hit all kinds of things. Okay, so he goes for this. Check. Yeah, maybe knight takes E4 actually guarded against that. So so what? Does he have to accept this one? Oh no, check. Oh no. Oh, black was winning. So no. Yeah. This was okay. So this is what I'm talking about. Is that here he's got a tactical situation, but the thing on F2 is important. So here when he goes B4, bishop takes F2. Here he actually has to refuse this one because on capture, black had E3 check. I think didn't he? No, maybe not. E3. Well, if queen takes, then knight G4 wins the queen. But if king takes, queen G5. Yeah, maybe black has some ongoing initiative. Maybe rook E8 or something like that. Even though he's sacrificed a few pieces, but this one doesn't do anything. Now when he goes like this, now white's just up +5. So yet another reason why to have tactics involved in your game, so that this way not only can you use them, you can defend against them and use defensive tactics as well. The tactics can be okay. So white's doing the best he can to make this complicated, trying to trade queens. So here black should probably play like queen G5 or something, hit the rook, win a tempo. This one doesn't threaten so much. So if he wants to, he could just simply play, well, maybe not G3. If he could, oh, now he can't castle anymore. His king is moved. So what, E3 maybe? Let's give one pawn back so that we can get the rest of our guys out. That seems intelligent. H3. Oh, he's trying to block out bishop G4. That's why he does this, but this does weaken the entire, weakens all the dark squares actually. So let's see if he can make something of this. So what was his idea? G4, bishop G2, rook F1. Oh, there it is, G4. Okay, not threatening anything, so you can continue developing. Oh, he's giving it a think. So he does play this move. So that might threaten C5. So here he probably has to play something careful, like queen D3, queen F2, maybe queen D3, at least holding on to G3 and seizing the D file. Also, queen D3 incidentally hits the A6 pawn, although we're not really going to threaten to take that. So we're just trying to get this rook into the defense. Okay, no, this is hanging. Oh, he tricked his opponent. He tricked him with a sideways defensive move. Yeah, rook D1. And he resigns. Wow. Okay. Doing really well here. Okay, gets the black pieces again. 2056. So another Sicilian. Another 4-knight Sicilian. Take. Yeah, in fact, actually, the trick to playing against Timberlake is that in this position, when he goes with this particular move order, one should play knight to B5. Test him in that line. Let's see what he comes up with. That's why in the 4-knight Sicilian, it's actually much better to play knight F6 first, and then knight C3, and then knight C6. So this way you can actually defend that position a little bit better. So here we get his typical 4 knights, D5. Okay, so all out assault on the pawn center. So threatening here and here. And in some cases here, like for example, if white plays bishop to D2, you could play queen H4 check followed by queen takes knight. Nice little sideways attack. I think white has to take here, yeah? Anything else just allows. Yeah. In fact, he had that pre-moved. So really, I don't know about that move. Let's see, knight takes knight, bishop takes, queen takes, and if pawn takes bishop b5 check. Although that's the type, I don't know. He does do this. So does he take with the E or the C? Or does, well, he has to throw in check first, so that's mandatory. But now which one do you take with? E or C? Queen E5 check doesn't work because of 93. So he takes with the E pawn. So he was afraid of bishop B5 check. I can't say that I blame him. And then he'll just castle. Or he'll take on B2 if given a chance. Wow, White probably should have castled there. That looked like a much more economical development. Queen there. So now Timby's got the option of playing Queen H4 check, which he does not use. And then like on G3, then you could possibly play something like Queen H3 and make kingside castling very unpleasant to try to achieve. And then the king stays in the middle. Here, White could just O-O and has a perfectly reasonable position. Which, by the way, in positions where pawns have been exchanged often, here Black's got 2 pawns traded off, White's got 2 pawns traded off. Anytime you trade more than 1 pawn, those are considered open positions. Anytime you have an open position in your opponent and one side has not castled, usually that's the side that has the disadvantage. So therefore, if you have a position like this where you have an open position and you have castled and your opponent has not, and it's your turn, if you have the opportunity to slow down castling for them, that is a viable option. And here Queen H4 would have done that. Even though they could play G3, when we post our queen up on H3, that prevents castling. So then White would have to negotiate how to crawl out of that problem there before he could protect his king. So here, bishop to F5, I mean, this is just developing pieces, but White was able to save themselves. So here they trade off bishops. And again, we have a technical endgame here, which is Timby's style. But again, this is a style without tactics. So you can win, but it makes things way more difficult than they need to be. All right, so wow, no trade. Very Karpovian. Rook's on the open file, and just go to the side. Just let him have the file. We don't care about that. All we really care about is saving our rooks. I guess that's the message in this one. C5. So he's got hanging pawns, and he intends to use them. White intends to use the file that he was given. So the hanging pawns moved. All these squares are now accessible. Also might maybe making a way for a sneaky sneaky check if needed. Setting him thinking. So he invades. This hits A7, but not really when he's got Queen B6 check. Wow, he even takes time out to protect that guy. Mm-hmm. So how does either side make progress here? White has the 7th rank. Can he increase that advantage? Rook, maybe King H1 first. Let's get out of all checks. It might not be so bad. He runs away. Wow. This actually might allow Queen to B2. which is kind of an oddball move, but queen b2 picks on the a pawn. Kind of an unpleasant way, too. That's not really a Timby-ish move, though. I suspect you'll find something totally different. And he does. Okay, so this sacrifices c4, but maybe this is a good pawn sacrifice. So white takes. Okay, fine. Show me, he says. If rook b2, maybe he has queen a5. So he goes after the fresh weakness. So protect or sack. Probably queen d3 is good enough. Yeah. Okay, so he's got a nice 2-minute time lead. He's down a pawn, but has a fairly solid position, I guess. Okay, so again, going after the weakness. Timby has to make sure his king doesn't get caught on the H file. Make sure he doesn't get mated out there. So he offers a queen trade, which normally Timby would accept, but here he's probably going to take c4. Actually, knowing him, he'll probably trade queens first and then take on c4 with the rook and play this 5 versus 5 double rook endgame here. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, he keeps the queens on. Unusual for him. So a2 is under attack. So here's the H file problem I was talking about. So rook to e8 mate is the idea. Queen takes rook is also a secondary idea. So he probably has to play rook bb8. And then defend himself. Yep. Okay. So again, a2 is under attack. So if he gets time to take that, that will make the a6 pawn into a passer. That's not terrible. So he does protect it. Somewhat, but he did protect it. So this threatens d3 check plus queen takes a3. So a tactic. Yay. All right. We got tactic time. A fork and a disco. So a forkso. Or a forksery. Is that not what we called it earlier? A forksery? So he's got two tactics happening here. So which one do you want to block? D3 doesn't win the rook, by the way. Oh, look at that. An X-ray defense. I like this. This is a good move by white. Excellent. So does he want to keep playing tricky or just trade queens? Trading queens looks drawish. So he keeps it up. Okay. So D3 is a threat, but he could play rook to E3 to block that check, but then you could play D takes C2. So that would still win a pawn and give black a pass pawn on the 7th rank, which would probably be winning. So D3 is definitely a threat. If he wants something like a technical endgame, I guess rook to E8 is also something of a incidental threat. So this is the question. Do we play rook E8 and try to trade a rook? Or do we play rook E8 and try to get them to play queen takes rook? Rook takes queen, rook takes E8 check, king H7, and just play 2 rooks versus a queen? No, he keeps the pin on. So I guess this threatens rook to E8. So a little bit more of a tactical bent from him. This is good. I like this. Okay. So I guess this move is maybe a silent draw offer. Queen B6, king F1. Ah, the eviction notice. Get out. Okay, so once again, threatening rook E8 mate. So this might also be a silent draw offer if he goes queen to E7. Right, so if Timby doesn't want to draw, I'll have to find some other eviction notice here. So he just goes for this. Well, okay, so this is just a trade. Trade. Probably take with a queen, yeah? Yeah. Okay, of course. Okay, so how about a queen trade now? Says white. Queen trade now is probably also a draw or draw-ish. This is an interesting move, double attacking the pawn. So you again, another tactic. Very good. Very good. So take with the D rook, right? And then we gang up on the pawn. At least I thought that was the idea. There you go. Another double attack. Okay, so this pretty much forces rook to E4, right? And okay, so he uses these tactics, but white has actually played some good moves too. So again, we have a drawish end game. So, well, okay. And then like what, rook B2? Yeah, rook B2. So now black needs to centralize his king somehow. F6, king F8. Maybe f5. That's a good move too, pressurizing the pawn. Oh, if White offered a draw and Timby didn't want it, he's going to try to dirty flag him now. So this is the one of the ultimate dirty flag positions, ones where it's like basically a drawn end game, but you just try to win the game on clock. That's possible. Okay. Fixing the pawn, I guess, on a4. Yeah, White's going to wait. So rook b2 probably. That was the idea. Rook b2, rook b4. Yep, look at that. Look at that. So this threatens rook b4. No, this makes the white rook worse. So definitely just rook b4, rook a3, and then the rook is worse. There you go. And then you can centralize your king. Good. King e5. Why not? Yep, he's running that way. Now his king's in the train station. King c5. This doesn't threaten anything though. He's got king d5 now. Uh-oh. Whoa, this was the point? King b4. Rook a3, building a bridge. Take, take. Uh-oh, has he gone into a lost king and pawn endgame? Better take. Oh, this might be, is this a win? It is a win, but he has to remember how to do this. Timby and I went over this a few years ago. Let's see if he can remember how to do this. So far, so bad. King b6. No, that's not good. This is okay. No, he queen. Oh, he doesn't queen. Oh, lucky. Now check him. No, not there. Oh, no. I can't believe it. All these years and he's forgotten. Now he's going to dirty flag him, but he had a win. It was a total win. So it's dirty flag time. Man, that's terrible. I hope White draws this just to prove a point. Oh, blech. Yuck. No, 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 no. Oh man. Well, okay, yeah, no, that was obviously a win for whoops. No, no, no. Back it up, back it up. Back it up, back it up. Easy, back it up. Wow. All right, so here we have the Rachmaninoff variation that we talked about in the English video. Knight to b3 is probably okay. Knight takes is probably also okay. Not bishop g5 though. Don't play bishop. No, good. Don't play bishop g5. That's a blunder. Bishop g5 would have lost to bishop takes f2. King takes f2. Knight g4 check, followed by queen takes bishop. And that was the end of that. Oh, he goes for the cheesiness of the f2 square. Oh, no. Look at that. And all of a sudden, White's winning. Not even with a tactic. Oh, and he missed it. Oh, I can't believe it. Wow, man. Jeez, and then Black defends. Yeah, no. Okay, so for all the kids at home that are watching, you just simply pick up your queen and you move to here and take the pawn, take the knight for free. Oh boy. So what? Castle's long? Nope, he's going to give away the bishop for nothing. Perfect. Excellent strategy. Always do that whenever possible. That's always a good idea. Just give away the bishop. I went from a win to a loss in 2 moves. Or no, 3 moves. A move, well, let's see. Move 9, he was winning. Move 11, he's losing. So, wow. Maybe we should say the rest of this game, keep the rest of this game with no comment, because that was really bad. No, bishop to b4 check, and you're almost resigning already. No, or that. Man. And that wasn't even a tactic. That was just a one mover. One movers aren't tactics. Bishop to a5 check. Threatening bishop takes e3. Okay. Let's see. That's reasonable. Knight f5. Recycle the knight. Knight f5 to d6. That seems all right. Oh, he's getting greedy. He wants more. Steal a pawn and run away. Step with pep to the back of the house. Looked in, all the lights was out. Went to the front door, but it's locked, so easily made my way through the window. Get what you're gonna get front and center, or get 5 years for breaking and enter. Move quickly, but no running. Shh, I think somebody's coming. And he just did it. He just took the pawn and ran away. That's all he did. Nothing fancy. I guess white has some indigestion here. A5 is a big threat since there's a big pin happening here. So we would expect just the movement of a queen somewhere. No, we don't get this. So okay, so his idea is to win the tempo back either with this move or this move, which will put some pressure on the bishop, but also attack the mate on h2. So, yeah, maybe knight g4 was a little too ambitious. What's this? So pawn takes, queen takes, followed by queen takes. Is that the idea? And just go into the end game. But this is an opposite color bishop end game. This might have, white might have some chances to hold here. So he does go into this end game. Okay, but the bishops are opposite. And white is down 2 pawns, and the 2 pawns that this pawn's a passer and this pawn's a candidate. So probably black's got good chances to win, but these are not easy. So let's see how this goes. So seizes the d file. Why not? We would expect rook to e8 here. Let's seize a file of our own. Why not? No, he didn't even bother with that. Okay, fine. Okay, and this takes away e8. Now suddenly his rook is inactive. Man, Activity, 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 activity. It is the thing that matters most in chess. Take, take. Yeah, even pawn c5 took away the activity of the bishop. So what? Bishop c4 here, rook e8, rook d7. No, he gets passive. Yeah, he seizes the file. That was the whole purpose of this. Yeah, both files were dominated. Now all of a sudden you play one passive move and they get active and it's all over. Now I think black's probably winning fairly easily here. Probably rook d2. Yeah, make sure that you're always up a king. This king can't get into the game. So once this king enters the game, that should be game over. Yeah, what is this? This isn't activity. This is just pure defense. So go king go, right? Check. You want to make the king better? Why do you want to make their king better? That was the whole purpose of rook d2. The whole purpose of rook d whole purpose of rook d2 was to keep the king in prison and keep him there. Rook to d1 just lets the king free. Now all of a sudden he has something he can do. There wasn't any reason for all this. Rook h2. What is this? Okay, well, so we have some sort of obscure plan happening here. So what, rook to e4? Let's put a rook on an open file again. Is that the idea? King to d5, king d5, king e4, king d5, bishop c4. So attacking this is interesting. Forces this move. Wow. Talk about inactivity all of a sudden. Wow, black had lots of activity and now he has none. So king to e4. Yeah, now he's making progress. Wow. So what's the threat? King d5, king d5, king d6, king to e7, and win the f7 pawn? Is that the idea? I mean, what else do you have? Go king, go. Yeah, why not? Making progress. Okay, so he's temporarily blocked his bishop, but I don't know if that matters. So rook f5. Or rook f6, maybe. Rook f5. Wow, now he has a disco. He can also take on f6. Get one of his pawns back. Have really excellent chances to draw. What? Oh, he's going to take f6 with the king. That's the whole point. How interesting. How about that? No, that looks like oh, that is not an active rook, ladies and gentlemen. What? Oh, well, this is still a draw. Still a draw. Maybe white had chances to win there, but yeah, this will be a draw. But a tough fought game by Timby once again. Gets a bad position and holds on grimly. This is what he likes most of all. There is more to chess than that, though, boys and girls. Yep. Okay, so centralizing the king. He could have tried trying to walk over to b5 and then play pawn a5 and win the c5 pawn or something like that, something to this effect. Okay, now he could just play c4 and that's a draw. Yep. Draw, 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 draw. All right, so that was a back and forth affair. White was winning, black was winning. And then there was a draw. Yeah, all right. So reasonable battle, I suppose. Oh, okay. So next game, here we have a Benko Gambit accepted. Not accepted. So here the best line is A takes B. A takes B. Nope. And now white has a nice advantage. So that's a nice little trick there, boys and girls, for those of you that like to play the Benko Gambit. When white goes to knight C3 move order, the best move is to play A takes B. And if knight takes B5, then you can play bishop to A6 as you normally would in the Benko. And then when he plays knight to C3, you actually have the Benko Gambit accepted with a different move order. But if you stick to your Benko guns and play G6 when they play E4, suddenly the bishop is already defending here. And now we go into like a mainline Benko where white will be up a pawn in a much better way. Although bishop to E3 is kind of a new move there, or a new idea, I suppose. Now he plays A takes B, but white should be able to hold on to that pawn. But black's got a typical Benko structure and is down a pawn as normal. So this probably isn't going to bother Timby at all. Queen B6, bishop A6, queen A5, queen A5. Okay, so something aggressive. So threatening knight takes E4. Uh-huh. And castle. So white gets away with his extra pawn. So white rook FB8, keeping up the pressure as normal. Now rook B. Oh, maybe a little too aggressive because here white will have knight D4 to C6 now. Yeah, I thought rook FB8 followed by knight E8 to C7 to B5 might have been thematic. Thematic and good. So he does now plays rook A B8. No. In this position, it's rook FB8. This is the whole point to the Benko Gambit. Timby knows this too, so he must have something else in mind. Maybe he's attempting to use the rook on the F file and play for F5. You know, like knight D7 and then F5 or something. I don't know. I can't imagine. But like I said, this also allows here to here. Yep, and white finds this, so Devilito knows what he's doing here. Yeah, unfortunately, this is yeah. Now having to rely on defensive measures, but again, black is already down a pawn and is now wasting tempi. I mean, queen A5, queen C7, C4. All this is taking up moves to do this. So wonder if E6 is a try. E6. Or yeah, that's what I mean. Okay, yeah, right, of course. Save the rook first and then prepare E6. Right. Now, of course, now we're in a pin this way. Wow, he took. Okay, so he got the bishop pair out of this one. So might as well take. Okay. Now you have like, well, you still have e6 as a thing here. This might not be over yet. His pawn structure is getting worse and worse, but his activity might be improving. But again, this is not something that Timby relishes: activity, tactics, spicy counter chances, anything like that. These are all things he tries to avoid rather than play for. But he might be forced into this. So maybe we can get him to do something crazy here, or at least aggressive. Okay, so just ye old regular bishop takes knight threat. White might have e5 here. e5, knight takes d5, knight takes d5, queen takes c6, knight e7, check, wins the knight. Or wins the queen with the knight, I mean. So that might be a nice little hammer blow there for white if he wants it. It's going to hold on to c6 first. That seems logical too. The peekaboo move. e6. So he does find e6. Eventually came around to this. d6. d6 might be. He might have thrown in too many moves. Now d6 might be a thing. d6 and then knight here check, or d6 followed by e5. In fact, d6, where's the queen going? Anywhere it can go. Yeah, he finds it. Yeah, no, I think this wins. The queen has nowhere to, the queen is crowded here. So probably Timby's got to sack his queen in some way. Like c8 is met by knight e7 check. b8 and d8 are already taken up. Queen d7 is also met by knight e7 check because there's a disco here coming from the bishop a4. So yeah, he just crowded his own queen here. d6, nice move by Devilito. And once this reality shows up, he's either going to sack his queen or he's going to resign and give his opponent enough respect to know that he's going to win this position rather easily. Your choice, Timby. What are you going to do? And he resigns, as predicted. Okay, so we go from the English to the King's Indian attack, which is also a Timby specialty. D3, so we have a reverse King's Indian. Knight g5. Yay, a tactical move. How about that? Not the wimpy knight to e1, knight to g5 with a triple attack. Okay, so here we have to take. Okay. So this is a known pawn sacrifice with reverse colors. I remember this used to be a favorite weapon of both Georgy Orlov and Elena Donaldson back in their in their playing days when they played against the King's Indian defense. They often played this sacrifice in the early 90s and had some good success with it. I think nowadays, though, I think this is just an extra pawn. Yeah, here with this one, this should just be an extra pawn for white now. So probably Timby's favorite move, bishop to d2. Oh, something new from him. Yeah, normally he loves putting his bishop on d2 in many different types of situations. So here he gets to put it on b2. Fair enough. And then what? Rook d1. Yep. With a cohesive position. Yeah, good move. Cohesive position with extra pawn. Knight d6. So threatening knight takes, followed by bishop takes, winning a second pawn. That one is okay. Bishop here, maybe? E4. No, wait a minute. What's that? Yeah, I don't know about e4. Yeah, maybe we could take c5, but e4, yeah, e4 just allowed the knight in. There was no reason to do that. Oh, look at this. Okay, let's just defend everything type of move. So this is a very greedy move, but it puts the rook on a bad square, but you could probably get away with this. So tries to build up. Okay, so that's the bad bishop, so we don't mind trading him off. That's probably a good move. This threatens here. Bishop takes c5. So that threatens the rook. I thought white was the one that had the attack here. And suddenly he's in pure defense here. Okay, so again, threatening bishop c5. All right, so this is running into e5. Yeah. Although he also, wow, he got rid of his bad bishop and he straightened out his pawns too. Okay, so this is looking more promising. Although again, it's opposite color bishop. Very hard to win these positions, even with the extra pawn. White might be threatening g4 at some point. Yeah, he does this, but now black, of course, can play f5 or he could play h5 here. Yeah. So he has to. So he'll win a second pawn here, but his pawn structure is no longer good. So we can play gh. No, what is this? King g3? Is that the point? Maybe that's the point. Maybe this is a trick. And suddenly FG is going to win. Wow, that was a sly little trick there. Maybe h5 isn't going to lead to anything. All right, so take and rook h6 and then maybe something like bishop to e7. FG, rook h6, bishop e7. That might be a winning endgame. So he does this first. And now I want to play bishop e7 with has two ideas. One is to maybe swap a rook with rook to d8 and also to play bishop to g5 and make his h rook even worse. Make it go to h7 or h8 or something like that. And also bishop e7 had the other idea of playing bishop to h4 and actually winning the, or, you know, like seriously going after the h3 bishop. Now notice rook to e8 took away bishop to e7. I've said this many times to Seattle Chess School students that whenever you're looking at a game, if you want to know if you ever missed a good move, pay attention to what your opponent does. So here, Timby plays rook to e1. What does black play? Black plays this. This guards against bishop to e7. That means that when he was in this position, black was really afraid of bishop to e7. When that didn't show up on the board, now he gets a chance to correct himself, and now you have to win the game all over again. So he gets a pass pawn, but black is now starting to free himself a little bit. Bishop, well, yeah, so suddenly there's a double attack here. And he's trying to free. Okay, so maybe he's got to play bishop f4. That might be the only move. You have to distract the rook away from something. e7. Okay, so now black freed his bishop and won his pawn back, and is threatening rook h3. So yeah, this is maybe compensation for the fact that the pawn's on the 7th rank. Also, this king can come over and help stop this rather easily. So this was like pseudo tactic time. Okay, this isn't the same as the other way. Black also has g5 in some situations, and white's king might be in severe danger. So again, a mostly defensive move. g5. Now he throws this, I mean, he's like forcing white to play king to f4. Knowing Timby, though, he'll play king g2. Probably king g2 is okay. Hold on to the h pawn. Or he might even play king f2 and play ultra defensively. No, he does this. So black can take h2. White gets a disco on h2, but he might get some extra tempi here. So this happened. Okay, so this is threatening king e6 followed by king f7. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he can even take, maybe he has time to take c2 even. Yeah, wow. Now black's up 2 pawns. And white hasn't got anything special for this. Nope, f4 check and resigns. Yeah. Tactic time. Tactic time. Any time is tactic time. And he tapped. All right. Well, maybe we'll go one more here. We'll see how Timby feels. Want to play one more game? Or is that going to finish it? Is that the finito? Okay, I got to go. All right, so that shall do it. Perfect. Okay, well, thank you to Timberlake for his time and efforts and showing us his talents here today. That'll do it for me. This, of course, has been Coach Matt for the Seattle Chess School, and we shall see you guys on the next one.